What are your thoughts on this kind of new cookieless future that we're getting into? First party data seems to be a lot more important now. And what's your thoughts and opinion on that?
Well, I think it's important to respect people's privacy, and people have to opt in, and it needs to be their choice to opt in. It shouldn't be by default. So our role is to make sure that we have content that is engaging, that we're not spamming them, and to tell a story that they want to hear, a story that they want to spread around. And the beauty about this business, as I said, like when people try it, they become our first fans, they become our brand ambassador, and our key channel is word of mouth. And when you look at the data, that's the most important channel. That's the channel that drives behavior. People talking about it to their friends, family, when they have a party, when they have an outdoor gathering, when they have a barbecue, especially in summer, etc. So you gotta respect the privacy, lead with engaging content, give the people the opportunity to opt in or opt out if they don't want to, and make sure that you're always leading with purpose, leading with values, and making sure again that those values align with your customers. Some customers care about sustainability, others don't. That's why we talk with our psychographic segmentation. We're focusing on what we call eco-conscious customers, people that want to do something for the environment. They may not know what. And this is a simple way to do something that does not require a lot of heavy lifting. This just requires a behavior change. This just require moving from one beverage container that is less sustainable to something that is more sustainable. We're not asking you to go collect, recycle. That work is done on the back. So yeah, I think it's part of Web3 with other transformational innovation happening like the Metaverse, and we need to stay close to those trends. And as I said, I think marketing has changed over the last few years, probably more than over the last 30 years. And I'm still learning, and there's a lot of stuff that I still don't know. I'm lucky to have a team that probably know, and an agency partner that know more than me. And I'm a lifetime learner. So that's what makes marketing exciting. That's why I'm not an accountant, among others, because
Right.
you learn for as long as you want to.
Exactly.
And it's always dynamic. It's always changing. It's a great job if you love change, if you thrive on change. It's a lousy job if you like comfort zone and you like keep doing the same thing over and over.
Are you finding any utility for the metaverse, NFTs, or any experimentation in that way that you can share?
Not yet. I would say on that front, we're probably not leading. We're more following. I think, as I said, we still have like a lot of channels that we know work well, and we want to focus on those channels given that we have limited resources. We are experimenting with some channels, but not yet NFTs, not yet the metaverse. We want to give it a little bit more time. Again, going back to the objective, which is growth. If it drives growth, if it's proven to drive growth, then we'll invest on it. If it's more experimental, we'll probably put a little bit just to see how it works and test and maybe build the business case for investment. But we're still kind of at the tip of the iceberg.
Is there any specific topic you're like, want to make sure we get some time on?
For me, it's really about how do we put marketing in the C-suite, in the table, and how do we make sure that the voice is heard as much as the CFO voice and the chief commercial officer voice. So that's what I'm exciting for me is again the power of AI and machine learning and big data to help us be much more purposeful and come to the table with science more than art, because that's what leadership wants to hear. How is this investment going to drive an ROI? And if I put this into marketing, is it going to give me a higher ROI than if I put it into a commercial program, or if I put it into increasing my capacity at the plant? You fight for resources. The pot is the same. So you got to be able to go and build that business case and tell your story and why you should invest in marketing as much as you invest in commercial, as much as you invest in supply chain, logistics, and manufacturing. So that's what exciting for me, like using all the data that we have today to be able to tell that story, to gain alignment and gain belief, and confidence that what we do matters, that what we do drive growth. And it's a never-ending process because you got to do it over and over again every budget period.
That's good.
So that's what I'm excited to talk about. I can talk about creative for a while. I know a lot of CMOs do it, and I've done it in the past, and I love it. I'm more left-brainer, as you probably have perceived, than right-brainer, but I have so much respect for right-brainers. Some of my most inspirational bosses in the past were visionary right-brainers. I think they are the future. They are the entrepreneur. They are the change makers. And you need to have that vision. You need to have that, inspiration, but you also need to be able to tell a different story that matters for other stakeholders.
I'm curious if you can take us a layer below kind of how you do this, right? Because you said the voice of marketing, it's important, and marketing has to be at the table, not as a cost center, but as a revenue driver of growth. And that makes a lot of sense. But then there's just the how, right? How are you, you're talking about using data to tell stories. I love that. But how are you ensuring that marketing does have a voice, that you are, you're fighting for, the resources and the support that you need to grow this opportunity like you can? Is there something to your approach or strategy of how you do that has benefited you and is working well, that maybe other marketing leaders can look, oh, wow, next time I meet with the board, or next time I meet with, the CEO or the CFO, here's an approach that I could learn from Jawad?
I think I kind of voiced it before. I don't talk about marketing strategy. I talk about business strategy or growth strategy. When I talked about Powered, I said what we built was a growth strategy. When I talked about my first 60 days, what we built was a commercial or growth strategy or business strategy. If you lead with a strategy, and that's a business strategy, marketing is part of that, but it's not just marketing, then obviously it's closer to what people know, because you're using a code, a language that the key stakeholders that your CFO mostly understand, and he's the one who's going to give you that investment, whether it's people, budget, or capex. So that's really, I would say, my advice for marketeers. Don't talk about just marketing. Talk about growth. Talk about the business. And if you do that, then there's a chance people will hear you, will listen to you, and will understand what you do.
That's good.
Especially if you are a B2B business, which is our legacy. We have to do even more to educate our stakeholders. Why does it matter to invest in marketing? Obviously, CPGs are way ahead they are brand business. All marketing has always been at the center. So it's the journeys might be different between a B2B and a B2C. And the gap is probably different between a B2B and a B2C. But I would say even within CPG, I've seen a lot of transformation in the last few years where companies are investing more into performance marketing, into building marketing efficiencies and effectiveness, including a Coca-Cola company. So you got to find that right balance between investing in what is proven to drive the business, but also keep experimenting, because that's how you push the boundaries. That's how you push the envelope. You got to do both. It's not an or, it's an and. It's like art and science. It's not an or, it's an and. And experimentation and proven business growth levers are also an and.
This podcast is brought to you by Salesforce and the CMO Club. The CMO Club is a global community for senior marketing executives to come together, share ideas, and solve their toughest challenges in a collaborative and trusted environment with other marketing leaders. Salesforce and the CMO Club provide best-in-class programs, events, and a digital platform for marketing leaders to come together and be inspired like never before. Join our global community at thecmoclub.com.